Hi, new semester, new group of students. I'm sure you will read the syllabus and you will learn everything you need to learn about the course from there. But I thought as a personal touch, I would send you this video message where I personally will tell you about the most important features of the course so that you are fully prepared and ready for the good successful semester. Now, when I teach this course face-to-face, which I do regularly, normally I would start the activity or the course with an to point to north, like literally. I would ask them, so which way is north? And so in the classroom there would be 100 students or so, and sometimes even 200, and they would be pointing in all possible directions. And then I would say, well, you understand that you all are roughly the same age, roughly the same education level, same background, and you see that you all disagree on the direction. So somebody here must be wrong. So why don't you participate in this activity only if you know the answer for sure? So those of you who have any doubts, you know which way north is, don't participate. Those who know for sure, please point to in the direction of north, right? And then about half of the class would drop out at that time, but the other half are still participating and still pointing in every possible direction, including up, right? And then I would ask one more time. You understand that statistically speaking, chances of you being wrong are equal to chances of somebody else being wrong, because there is no objective reason for you to be smarter than the rest of the class. So again, that probably should give you some doubt as to the quality of your answer. So let's do it again. If you are sure, only if you are absolutely sure, show me which way is north. North is, right? And if you have any doubts, don't participate. And even at that time, I would still have about 10, 15, 20 students who are participating and insisting that they know the answer better. And many of them would be pointing in different directions. I would then choose two who literally point in the opposite directions and would say, well, see, your colleague here is pointing in the opposite direction. Are you sure you are right and he is wrong? And both students normally say, yes, I am right and he is wrong or she is wrong. Now, at that point, I would take out a compass and I would actually tell them which way north is, but I would stress that the point of this exercise is not to determine, the geographic location here, but to show to the class that often we are obviously wrong. Often the statistical evidence shows that we, or most of us, are wrong about something. Yet we stick with our original belief that we are right, and we would not accept the possibility that we may be wrong. This activity very well illustrates what Management 301, what international business courses in general are like. People come to these courses with preconceived notions and beliefs as to what international business is and how it should operate. Of course, I know what exchange rates are. Of course, I know what immigration is. Of course, I know what job outsourcing does to the economy of my country. Of course, I know what imports do to the economy of my country. Things like that. And it's very difficult sometimes to convince students or show students alternative opinions. And I wouldn't even want to call them alternative. I'm talking about evidence that has been produced based on hundreds, if not thousands, of studies, because each of those topics have been studied extensively by scholars in controlled experiments, by observations, by collecting data. So we know answers to most of those questions with some degree of certainty and sometimes with the absolute certainty. Yet the public often not only doesn't know anything on the topic. I mean, how many of you have actually read on some of those issues? I mean, most of us haven't. Most of us know about international business based on what they've heard in the political debates last year, right? So most of us don't really have a good understanding, yet we think that we do. I used to teach, for example, statistics, and that was a joy to teach because people come to a statistics course thinking they don't know anything, and in fact, in many cases, thinking they cannot learn enough because it's a difficult subject. It's not for me, or I still know nothing and hopefully will learn something. And then your job as a professor is to actually tell the students how statistics works. And as long as you can tell them something, they will absorb it. They will take that. They will thank you for teaching them. With international business, it's the opposite way. It's almost like an uphill battle. Me trying sometimes, unfortunately, to prove to people that they don't know enough. And even what they know often is not correct. And so hopefully you will keep your minds open, and hopefully you will remember about this exercise that often we think we know, whereas in reality we may be wrong. Now, a little bit about myself so you know whom you will be working with for this semester. So I got my PhD in International Human Resource Management at the University of Calgary in Canada, and I specialize in managing people in cross-cultural settings. So if you have a bunch of people from all around the world and they have to complete a project together, I can help, or I study what can be a problem and how you remove those problems. Though in my teaching and in my general interests, I'm also interested beyond the just managing people, humans in cross-cultural context. I'm also doing research on everything from immigration to international trade to all kinds of other areas related to international business, as well as just general psychology and human resource management, not in international context. My master's and my undergraduates were actually in pure economics. So actually they called it political economy, but yeah, it's basically pure economics. And I got that from the University of Texas at Dallas. So those of you who look down upon psychology or HR as not technical enough, or not, easy stuff for people who are not good with numbers, no, I'm okay with numbers. I had a straight 4.0 in my master's, and so I taught statistics. I must have taken lots of courses in statistics, 13, 14. So I'm good with that side. It just over the course of my personal evolution, I grew to appreciate the human side of organizations more than just the numbers. And so that's what I specialize in now. I'm a member of the Academy of Management and Academy of International Business. I'm an associate editor and editorial board member of a number of journals in my field. I was born and raised in Ukraine, left Ukraine at the age of 16, have lived in a number of countries since then. I'm a citizen of Canada, and I've lived in the United States for a combined of, North America, if you include Canada, for about 15 years or so, though again, in and out, different countries in between. I work with people from all around the world as part of my job, and I will talk more about that soon. But literally, yes, if you look into my email box and, any given day, you will probably see messages over the course of a day from at least 20 different countries. I'm not exaggerating. So the project that I lead has participants from usually about 45 countries in a given semester, 4,000 or so total. And so of those, about 100 or so professors with whom I communicate on a daily basis, and then all the other participants of the project who are more project subjects. And so, yes, my team is multinational, multicultural, and I communicate with people across borders literally every single day, every single hour, and in fact, probably every single minute during the business hours. So that's why I like the topic. In fact, that's why I got into the topic. And I do have a lot of theoretical knowledge, I'd like to believe, but also lots of practical knowledge about the topic. If you don't know geography very well, so this is the map of Europe, and this is where I was born, so Ukraine, and as I said, I left it right about half the life ago. It's a little bit more than half the life if you count. I left at 16, but I've been back and forth in Ukraine for a little while after that. So yeah, about half of my life at this point I spent outside of Ukraine and half in Ukraine, though pretty much all my adult life I've been living all around the world. I lived in Ukraine up until my youth years, and unfortunately not afterwards. Here are the countries where I've been for an extended period of time, so that's work or study or residence. So I visited many more, but these are where I've had something to do with my work, so would go there more than just a tourist. And so My family, my lovely wife, and my kids. My wife is a student at the UNCG, graduate student, and I just want to make sure that you know that. And eventually you will probably find that out, and people sometimes have all kinds of conspiracy theories. You know, a professor took advantage of a student. No, we had been married long before she went back to school. It just, happens to be that she studies at the school where I teach. No nepotism going on there, just so you know. Now, in terms of this particular course, there will be a lot of work. But it will not be like one of those courses where you don't really know how to get to an A. Here, the course is more like this. So the road will be long, and it will not be easy. But as far as what needs to be done to get to that A, the road is very straight. Very, very straight. You just do your work and you'll get your A. The good news about that is that get your A or A+. The bad news is that there are no shortcuts. It's straight. You just need to do the work. As long as you do it, as long as you walk the way, you will get your A. If you don't, you won't. Some people sometimes rely on general intelligence, on your IQ basically. Some people hope that the creativity will help. And they might a little bit, but no, you can be the smartest and the most creative person on this planet, but you will not get an A for this course if you don't walk the walk. And by that I mean that you will be asking questions that are specific to international business, specific to this course. And if you don't have that specific knowledge, if you didn't read that particular chapter, it will be very difficult to figure out what the answer is. I mean, general intelligence probably wouldn't help you much. Too bad, and I mean it's almost too bad to say that creativity is not important. But yes, in this course it's more about accumulating the general knowledge, the facts about international business, rather than being able to come up with some sort of a creative solution to a particular problem. In stats, yes, that's where it would have helped. Here, you do the readings, you review the video lectures, you will know the answer. And by the way, the stuff is fairly simple. As long as you do it, you will know the answer. There is no way you can watch a video lecture and not know the answers pertaining to that lecture. This stuff is simple. There is so much of it that it will be not easy to plow through all those resources. But again, a lot of my students get A+. In fact, a huge portion of my students get A+. So if you need an easy A+, easy is the wrong word, a simple A+, that's your course. Many students don't get high grades just because they, read the topic names, marketing or international business, or international exchange rates or currency exchange rates or compensation or, things like that. And they think, oh, sure, I know the answers. Well, it takes a little bit more than that. So you need to know this, like fine-tuned little things that a normal human being doesn't know. Like exchange rates. Sure, you know what exchange rates are, and you know that you can exchange your dollars for euros, for example. But do you know what affects exchange rates? Give me 5 factors that are most important when affecting exchange rates. The United States dollars goes up or go up. Why? What are the factors? Why it happens? Can you predict the exchange rate in the future? What are the main prediction methods? Those are the things that you'll need to know, and most people don't know those things. They may guess one maybe, but not enough. All right? So simple, but not easy. Again, when I teach face-to-face, I would often run this activity or this kind of illustration in the class to show my students what this course is about. And so I would have a glass, like literally like an empty glass, and I would ask my students, is it full or empty? And the class says, yeah, it is empty. I can see that it's empty. There is always one, smarty pants guy who says, oh, it's full because it's filled with air. Well, no, it's empty, right? And then I would take big rocks and I would put those rocks in the glass, and I would ask my students then, so is it full or empty now? And students would say, yeah, it looks like it's full now, I guess. Yeah, it's full. And I would say, well, not exactly, because we can add these little pebbles here. And we add the pebbles, or I literally pour, some sand into it. And then I would ask the students, is it full now or is it empty? And somebody would say, well, we kind of got the idea, so it's probably full, but not exactly, because there are still spaces left in it. And then I would take a bottle of beer and literally pour that beer into the glass, and I would say, is it full now or not? They say, well, now it looks like it's completely full. And so the point of that exercise is that it shows what it takes to get an A+ in this course. So the glass symbolizes your head, right? I'm not saying that it's empty, but that's your container of knowledge, right? And the big rocks, they represent the general facts about international business that everybody knows. So everybody knows what immigration is. Everybody knows what job outsourcing is. Everybody knows what exchange rates are. Those are very important big things, and you need to know them to succeed in this course. But there will be no single question on the test that pertains to those simple, fundamental, basic things. I'm not going to ask you who is an immigrant or what is an exchange rate. Those questions, I assume you will have to know that stuff, but that's the foundation. That's what everybody knows. What we cover in this class are those little pebbles or sand. Those are special knowledge attained in this particular class. As said, for example, when I will ask you about exchange rates, I will ask you what affects them, what are the factors, why do we see the fluctuations, why the US dollar became very expensive in 2009, why it became cheaper in 2013, and why it's getting more expensive in 2015. So what are the reasons for that? And you will have to give me, those answers. And as you can understand, if you ask 10 random people on the street, they wouldn't know. And I assume at the beginning of the class, you don't know either. But by the time of the exam, I will tell you why, and you'll have to know that. All right? So, and yeah, that beer, that's for graduate school. I mean, there is always much more that you can, add to that topic, but you don't need that part. So that's if you decide to do your advanced degrees in that area. All right? Now, let's talk about the course and basically we'll go one by one about the course stuff. So now let's talk about the syllabus that are really specific to this course. My contacts, my office hours, you can find that in the syllabus. The best way to communicate with me is by email. You're welcome to call me if you want to or stop by, but otherwise email is probably the most safe and secure and fast way to reach me. When you are emailing me, it would help a lot if you put Management 301 in the subject line. And so 1, I will know it's one of my students and will read your message right away. 2, when the semester will be over, it will allow me to find the messages from you and delete them, because there will be a few thousand messages over the course of the semester. And then as a result, in fact, it will be tens of thousands of the messages over the course of the semester, because each of you will email me multiple times. And we have 200 students or so in the semester. And so that's a lot of emails, and I need to be able to find them and delete them at the end of the semester. The course has no prerequisites. Economics 300 used to be a prerequisite. There are some overlaps between the two courses. Economics 300 looks more at the kind of national level of international business, whereas in Management 301 we talk more about the company level of the international business. So it's a little bit more practical than the economics. So if you will see some overlaps, it's kind of intentional, so don't worry about that. In terms of the textbook, we use the textbook by Wild, Wild and Hen, and currently the 8th edition is the latest one. However, I have pretty much all of the editions of the book, and the differences from version 8 through, from edition 4 through 8 are minimal. I mean, they are literally, just more recent examples and case studies. Other than that, it's exactly the same stuff. So if you can afford it, and if you would like to get the latest stuff, yes, get the latest edition of the book. Otherwise, get an older one. It will do just as well. Moreover, since I teach this course every semester, I created a little kind of online page where my former students can sell the book to my current students. And so the link is right here in the syllabus. So if you click on it, it will take you to a page where you can either list your book at the end of the semester and sell it to the students who will be taking my course next semester, or you can see who's listing the books now and buy one from my former students. Here how it looks, and so as you can see, as of now, about a dozen or so of my students who took my course before are listing their books so you can buy them from them. So that would be much to the bookstore. And as said, when the semester is over, you will be able to use the same page and list your book so that my future students can buy them from you. Now, everything is on Canvas, you know that obviously. Course objectives, you can read that stuff. It's, lots of interesting things, but kind of long and boring, so I'm not going to go through that. Course overview, course format. It's an online course, right? I teach it in 3 different versions: face-to-face, your regular in class; online during a regular semester, and that's where everything is pretty much like face-to-face, just online. And then there is also a summer version when it's more condensed, and so it's the whole thing is crammed into 6 weeks, and so it's a little different than because of that arrangement. Other than that, the online version is not really different from the face-to-face version. So you will have video lectures, just like if you were in the class. You will see me just like you see me now. And all the materials are posted on Canvas, and you can download them, and you will have the syllabus there, the slides, and video lectures, audio lectures, all that stuff will be there, right? Now, to match your personal learning style, I will give you several different versions of kind of material delivery. One, you have the textbook, and you can read the textbook. It should cover pretty much everything we cover in the class, or online in this case, in video lectures. There are some lectures where I felt the book was not doing a very good job covering all the aspects. So for that one, I literally had to add some of my own stuff from my own things. And for that one, normally there are additional readings, so you still can read the stuff. So if you prefer to read, you have the textbook or you have the additional readings, and that should get you prepared for the test enough. Then you have the video lectures, and obviously I would encourage you to watch them. That's where I focus on the stuff that will be on the exams. So some things in the textbook will not be covered on the exam. Occasionally there is stuff on the exams that is not directly from the textbook. The video lectures give you that specific tailored version to the exams. So I encourage you to watch that. Now, you can also just listen to the video lectures. While I do have the slides in the background, I always try to design the lecture in such a way that you can just simply get the soundtrack. You can just play that video but not look at the picture and just listen to me. Or just simply, just get the sound, which you can do from both YouTube or whatever, phone you use. And so this way you can just simply listen to my to my lectures, I guess, audio lectures in this case. If you commute to work or to school, if you work out in the gym or work in the garden behind your house, you can simply just pop the headset in your ears and just listen. You don't have to watch. So if you're an audio learner, that would work for you. Visual, watch the video lectures. On top of that, I have the slides prepared in such a way that they are almost like class notes. I deliberately made them very wordy. I know that, if I wanted to sell you something or convince you of something, I would use slides that are very, very simple, mainly just pictures. But I'm not trying to sell you anything or convince you of anything. I'm trying to pack your head with a lot of information. And so for that reason, I designed the slides to contain a lot of text and sometimes full sentences, so that the slides are more like class notes than the slides per se. So this way, you can go through the slides and, for example, repeat or review the course materials right before the exam. So that way, even if you didn't have the time to watch the video lecture, you should be able to comprehend the material from the class notes, from the slides, because it's not just a bullet list of the issues that I covered. It's actually full, sufficient information about the topic. In terms of you communicating with me, as I said, you will have take-home assignments where you will tell me answers to some questions. You will have the exams. We will also have the X-Culture project, and I'll talk about that some more in a minute, but that's also where you will show me your effort and your performance. And then obviously, as I said, two-way communication. Email me, I'll reply. Call me, I'll pick up the phone. Stop by and we'll talk in person, so whatever works for you. Now, in terms of the X-Culture project, so there will be a project in the course, if you're taking it in the regular semester, where you will gain some first-hand experience in international collaboration. Hopefully we'll learn the best practices of international collaboration, and we'll get much more out of it than just that. And I'll give you a very brief overview now what it is, but then there is an additional whole description about the project in the form of a video cartoon where it tells you more what the project is. But very brief background of this project is that since I teach international business, some years ago I thought it'd be nice to team up my students with students from a different country, and you would work with people from another country and thereby kind of learn international business on practice. And that idea worked out so well that today we have about 3,000-4,000 participants from about 100 universities, from about 40 countries on all 6 continents in a given semester. So we will put you on global virtual teams. Each one of you will be on a different team, and the teams will be anywhere between 6 to maybe 8-9 people, depending on how it works out. And each of your team members, or most of your team members, will be from different countries. There may be 2 students from the United States, but you will have a number of countries represented in your team. And then we have also organizations, real businesses, that come to us with their real-life challenges. Normally they want to grow their market share, they want to enter new markets, and they will ask for your advice. And so you will work with those people from all around the world, trying to develop a solution, like a business proposal or a business plan in a sense, for that company. And so there are 2 things that are important to me here. One, I would like to stress out that it's not an exam, it's an exercise. We have exams to test your knowledge. With Xculture, it's more about practical experience. So here I will not worry too much about your answers. I will worry more about you taking part in the exercise. I'm more interested in you working with people around the world towards a common goal, towards completing a project, rather than the actual answers that you will give me in the end. Though on the other hand, I do care about the answers, and while they will not have such a big effect on your grade as, for example, your effort would, but if you do a good job and write a good report, that will give you not only some experience in actually developing business plans, but if the company likes it, you may have a possibility of getting a job offer from the company. And we've had many examples when students would get job offers from companies that they kind of worked for. You will get a certificate that will document or will be a documented proof of your ability to work in a global virtual team. Very, very important thing. Many students have job interviews, goes nowhere, then they pull out the certificate and say, by the way, I worked in Xculture, I have a documented proof of my ability to work in a global team. And the employer like, ooh, tell me more. And you tell more and they say, yeah, I think I like you. Because you are same as everybody else in all respects, good GPA, good school, stuff like that. But nobody else worked in a global virtual team and you have. Job is yours, right? So that's an important thing. So keep that in mind. But anyway, that's briefly how it is, and it will start a little later in the semester, so we'll get to that a little later, and I'll communicate everything you need to know when the time is right. So for now, it's too early to worry about that. Now, course, letter grade, standard stuff. As said, there will be 3 exams, all non-cumulative. There will be 3 take-home assignments. I'll talk about them in a minute. There will be Xculture. There will be also some opportunities to earn bonuses, and let me talk about them one by one. Exams, nothing special. Online, non-cumulative. There will be 3 of them. The first one will be before your course drop date. So if you happen to do poorly on the first one, you don't like your grade, you don't think you can succeed in this course, you can still drop it without no academic penalty. You will have a window of about 48 hours. I'll actually maybe even go with 72 hours. And so part of that will be on the business day, like Friday, and then maybe one on weekend, Saturday or Sunday. And so you'll have those 2 days when you can take the test. And so once you start the test, you will have 75 minutes to complete it, but you can start at any time during that window, exam window. Nothing special, all multiple choice, 40 questions, standard stuff. The only thing I would like to say is that the questions will be presented to you in a random order. and the answers within the questions will be also presented to you in a random order. So this way, even if you tried to collaborate with someone, cooperate with someone trying to cheat the system, each person will have a different list of questions presented in a different order with different answers. It will be very, very difficult for you to, to cheat the system. I suppose you could try, but you shouldn't, and you probably wouldn't gain much from that. Take-home assignments, on the exams it's all multiple choice, and I don't really like multiple choice questions. I mean, they're not the best way to assess knowledge of students. I have to use them when I have 200 students, and especially when I teach online. I mean, there is really not much else I can do, but I'm open in your ways of showing me that you know the answers. And so there will be 3 take-home assignments, and they will be open-ended questions that you will have to answer. Each of them will be a scenario. Each of them will be a scenario kind of planning type of exercise, and you'll have to, predict what's going to happen if we did this or did that. You will receive an email about 10 days before each of the take-home assignments, and in that email there will be a link, and you just click on the link, and it will take you to the online form where you type in your answers. You can close and reopen it later, so no big deal there. And just regular stuff. Now, take-home assignments. One of the 3, the lowest grade, will be dropped. So if something goes wrong and you don't do well on one of them, or if for some reason you cannot do one of them, it will be dropped. So you have to worry about doing at least 2 well. So the lowest one dropped, the 2 best ones automatically used in calculation. Second, you can complete take-home assignments individually or in teams. And I strongly encourage you to work in teams. Teams generally do better. You learn more in the process. You meet new people. But if your schedule doesn't permit you to work in teams, that's fine. You can work alone. Your choice, whatever suits your preferences and schedule. If you work in a team, you would have to let me know in advance, about 48 hours before the deadline or earlier. And yeah, you just send me an email saying that this and this and this student will be working together. Thank you very much, and that's all I need to know. The reason I don't want you to not let me in advance is because I don't want anyone to kind of add a name to a submission last minute. So I want, if you work as a team, you probably will know that well in advance, and I want you to send and let me know that, so that I know that you're not making any last minute deals and selling spots on your team. If you work in a team, very important, only 1 submission per team. You will each receive an email with a link to the form. Just choose one of them, like any of the whoever number of students on team you have. Click on one of those, and you will have an option there to specify your team members. That's all we need. Very easy. So wait for the email with the link. Don't do anything until then. Since it's an online course and you will not be able to find team members in class as it's normally done, I have a link here to an online page where those of you who want to work in teams can find team members. And so just click on that, see who's looking for team members, or list your information, and you can find a team member that way. As I said, teams usually do better than individuals, just because 2 heads are better than 1. It may be a little bit more work because you have to coordinate, but I'm going to give you a 1-point bonus to reward your efforts. So if you work in a team, it's plus 1 point automatically. So if you had 89, it will automatically become 90. So nothing unusual there. Xculture, I already talked about how it works. So start with this link here, xculture.org/training, and just see what's in there. And and that's all you need, and all the information will be there. Again, don't worry about it too early. We'll get to that later, and I'll send you a personal email, talking about what you need to do. So nothing super difficult about it. It's an exciting project. Students like working with people from all around the world. You will meet colleagues, potentially future bosses, future partners. The best of you will be invited to a conference. This year it's in Savannah, Georgia, hosted by that makes agricultural equipment. Last year it was in Miami, hosted by Louis Vuitton, the guys who make fashion bags, that are more expensive than my car. Before that it was in Atlanta, hosted by the Home Depot. before that in Istanbul, hosted by Mercedes-Benz, and so on and so forth. So we do it every year, and if you do well in XCulture, you will be invited to that meeting so you can meet your team members and learn more. Again, more on that soon. Bonuses, you can earn a number of bonuses if you do several things. One, when you read the syllabus, and I'll get to that in a minute, you will see, in fact, why not now? You will see a set of green questions pertaining to each lecture. If you give me answers to those green questions on Canvas, they appear basically like an assignment. You just click on that, choose the lecture that you would like to answer the questions for, and just type in the answers. If you do that, if your answers make sense, they don't have to be super fine. I mean, just, show me that you thought about it and you provided good enough answers. I will give you 0.1 points added to your total grade for the course. So we have 23 lectures. If you do it every single time, it will add 2.3 points to your total grade. So it can be, instead of 89, it will become 91.3. And it may be a difference between, let's say, B+ and A-. So I encourage you to do that, even though that's optional. So very easy. Second, and that's very important, even though I've taught this course many times, there are always ways to improve it. And so it can be a simple improvement, like you found a typo in my syllabus or in my slides, or something more substantial, like you have an idea for a new assignment, or perhaps you have an idea for how else the course could be improved. If you send me those suggestions, I will give you 0.1 points for every correction, provided that it's a good correction that I actually, see rationale behind it and will make it. I normally cap it at 1 total, but then again, if it's a good correction, I'll even take more than 10 of those and give you more than 1 point. So it has to be good stuff. And believe me, there are enough typos left in my slides and my syllabus and my, readings and things like that. So if you see any problem, let me know. I will appreciate that, and I will give you a bonus. So see anything, say something, right? Finally, for the XCulture project, we have a Facebook page for the project, followed by, 5,000 people, more than that, I probably believe by now. And so we try to post, daily international business tips and, stuff related to international business. If you send me suggestions that are good for those kinds of things, I will give you bonuses. Again, 0.1 bonus for each good suggestion. A good suggestion is one that is so good that it actually will appear on the page. Sometimes I get, like somebody goes online, types international business, and sends me the first 200 links that they find. No, that's not good enough. But if you find something really interesting, really good, and many students do, I'll reward that. So send me an email. It will benefit the whole community, and I will give you a bonus for your improvement. Plus, as I said, you get a bonus for working in a team. So theoretical maximum for this course is 104.7 points. So technically you can end the course with more than 100 out of 100 possible. The rest is simple. So you have a schedule here. You have questions for each, or discussion questions for each topic or lecture. You have a video lecture here, so just click on the link. It will open a YouTube link. The reason I use YouTube is because first, Canvas do not allow large files to be added to the course page, and second, you don't have to worry about platforms. Will it play on your computer? Will it not? Just click on the YouTube link. It will work. You can download it, obviously, all those things. The deadlines are all here. So, for example, your first take-home assignment will be due on September the 11th. And so here is the information about that. So all the stuff that you need is here. Same thing with XCulture. So there is a deadline for XCulture, and the first one will be October the 5th. You will have it right here in this table. Very easy, very simple. If you have any questions, let me know. And I think that concludes the video introduction. So as said, I hope you will enjoy the class. The key is communication. Anything goes wrong, anything you cannot do, anything that troubles you, let me know. We'll work out something, right? Just don't forget to put Management 301 in the subject line, and yeah, you'll be fine. I wish I was able to stand in front of you in the classroom, see your faces, memorize your faces so I can say hello to you when I see you on the street. But well, it's online, so that it is, and hopefully the video lectures will make it feel for you like a real course. Thank you very much, and I'm going to start.